Loved our first half. Thought we came out and really executed on both ends, handled the pressure fine, and so going in feeling good. And then our third quarter just was not obviously up to par. And we held them to only 16, but we only scored 10. So obviously you're not going to beat really many people in our league with that, but just and then we started fighting in the fourth again. So just too many mistakes, and then obviously credit Jelani. She went off and literally we just had no answer for her. I thought at the very end we did a better job down the stretch, kind of limiting. We start hedging her some and trying to get the ball out of her hands, but she was unbelievable. She literally took them and carried them, and if we could just hold her to 10 less than that, she literally just anything we did found a way to score and hit some really tough shots.
Questions for student athletes, go ahead and raise your hands and we'll get you a microphone.
Just for either one of the players, in the third quarter, what offensively, what sort of wasn't clicking that led to the struggles that you had there?
I think just on both ends. I don't think we really showed the effort to a standard that we were supposed to. Like Coach Green had to call a timeout and just tell us, pick our efforts up. So I just don't think that should happen. We should just have that carry out throughout the game. So we just have to do better in that.
Yes, Barry, I know you weren't responsible for guarding Jelani, but what was your vantage point of what was she doing that was so difficult for you guys collectively to stop?
Yeah, I think she just did a good job. They set a lot of screens for her, just being ready to shoot, coming off of all the screens or backdooring or whatever she needed to do to get open. But I think she just plays really hard, so I think that was good for her.
CC, obviously disappointing on a team level, but a really great response from you individually after a tough game at Michigan State. How did you come back and be able to be so effective after a disappointing showing by your standards in Michigan?
Yeah, I worked with Coach Green and my position coach, Coach Jackie, and we watched film. We did individual workouts, and that was especially on posting up. And that's what I did. I got to it this game, and it worked, so I just kept going back to it.
Question for either of the players. What do you guys learn from just a game like this, another top 25 matchup, just tough environment, tough game? Just what did you guys learn?
I think just knowing that we need to bring our own energy and effort every single game. The Big Ten is a really tough conference, but just knowing that we can compete with anybody, but also everyone's going to compete with us as well. So just knowing that we have to stick to what we know we do what best as a team and getting stops on defense, and that will transition into us scoring as well.
Just as a follow-up to my earlier question, CC, I think your team combined for 50 points in the paint the previous two games, and you had 50 tonight, and you were a big part of setting the tone with that early on with the first 7 points of the basketball game. Was that a tangible focus of you, or was that more of just like a team-focused thing, and how did you see the floor break down when you were getting all those buckets early?
Yeah, it was definitely a team-focused thing. We lost the paint battle last game, so I think that was the first time we lost that paint battle, so we just want to get back to it this game and get back to what we're good at. I guess we did, so that's good to hear. But regarding the second part, I just really read what the defense gave me. She wasn't really that, she was just giving me what I got, and I just scored off her, so.
Yes, Barry, for you, when the third quarter is kind of going the way that it does, what can you do to kind of help stem that tide and find a way to manufacture some offense?
I think just being a leader and talking to my teammates and just kind of bringing the energy for the team in whatever way we need. If it's talking more on defense or just encouraging people or, just hitting my teammates when they're open as well on offense. It's just that. But I think we can all improve in that, and I think I definitely take responsibility for just being able to help get us going more in the third quarter.
CC, is Ohio State's ability to run the way they did off of your makes, is that part of the effort thing you were talking about, or is that just you not being, adaptive to maybe they're getting behind you and they're not sending as many to the glass as you guys do offensively?
Yeah, I definitely do need to sprint back as soon as I crash or score. That's obviously an effort thing. But yeah, I think just sprinting back as soon as I get a rebound or try to get a rebound or score is really like so I can get in gaps, because a lot of times Jelani was just going straight downhill, and if I was in gaps it would have been better, more preventive. So I think I just need to sprint back more and get back there faster.
It's for either of you. They got a lot of transition points off makes. What was that something you saw scouting wise? Was that something that you didn't expect? What kind of was the breakdown there?
Yeah, we knew that they would do that. I mean, obviously having Jelani, a really fast point guard, she's always pushing the ball no matter if it's a make or a miss. So we knew that going in and talked about it, obviously practice it, but, just have to continue to execute.
So something I could hear early on in the game very clearly from my seat on press row was the communication of the back line of the shell on defense. And that makes a huge difference, obviously. I'm sure the coaches are reinforcing that. What's it going to take through fatigue, certainly, to keep up that level of communication as games continue to get tough and you have to work hard and you're tired?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, communication is always going to have to be a constant thing. Like, it can't be something that you just stop doing when you're tired. That's how they lead to scores and how they lead to going up. So communication just always has to be constant, whether it's on ball screens, cuts, whatever.
Everybody good first methods? Yeah, guys.
Thank you.
Get some rest tomorrow.
Questions for Coach Green? Go ahead and raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone.
Coach, what is kind of the mindset when an opposing player goes on a heater like that? What's kind of going through your mind?
I have a confidence in our players that I think we have some of the best guard defenders in the country. And so I was obviously a ton of respect. I know how good Jelani is. I've watched her in high school. I watched her, last year. But I really thought we could have done, a better job on some of that stuff. And then, I changed. We went to ball screen coverage that we don't normally do, but I just wanted to try to get the ball out of her hands late. And so we were hedging down the stretch. But, give her credit. She had some tough shots, too. And then she drew 12 fouls as well. She's just elite at that. She beat us in transition. She beat us, hit threes. She did it literally in every way. So credit her.
With Ohio State, usually it's their press that gives people, troubles. Outside of Cambridge, what did you see as just the main reasons why the third quarter kind of went the way it did?
I mean, we weren't defending, and we weren't scoring. You can't score 10 points against these guys. We got good shots, we missed them. I got to look at film and see the rest.
Obviously, a lot of things you're going to want to improve upon, but there was a point early in the first half where they kind of gave up on their press because of how easily you were breaking it. Not how you wanted to end this 3-game stretch against 3 ranked teams, but what did you see from your team that can be built upon in terms of that particular piece of execution?
Yeah, that's what I guess pisses me off so much, because with Ohio State, it's always the press, right? We're up 21 at the first year, and then the press, and then we're up here, and then the press, and it wasn't the press. We just had a quarter where we kind of just weren't locked in enough and didn't execute on both ends of the floor in so many ways, and I just really wanted more juice and more oomph to us, and we just didn't have that. We got punched a couple times. They punched us, and we didn't punch back, and then we started punching and punching back and fighting in the fourth, and only got outscored by 3. So I guess that's probably my biggest disappointment, because when Ohio State, I always feel like if we can beat the press and make this a half-court game, I think it's an advantage us. But then you just have a player literally beat us, and that's frustrating. And I've had that feeling a couple times, once as an assistant when I was at Northwestern, and once as an assistant coach again, where one player literally comes and just, you try everything, and she just had a career night.
Shauna, the transition points off makes, it's how you shake your head with that. Was that its own scouting report, or was there a number of scouting report errors, I guess, tonight? I mean, obviously you guys planned for them to do that.
Yeah. No, we knew that. I knew that. Michigan State did it. And people are going to see it on film. When we make a basket, and we've talked about it, I'm on them all the time in practice about it, we got to get back. Like I said, those are just certain things that are just unacceptable in our program, and one of them is on a made basket, getting back. That should be the easiest thing in the game, right? And at one point in the third, I don't even know what it ended up being, but what I do know is we gave up at least 8 points just off made basket and getting back. And credit them. Jelani's, I think, probably the best in the country, but what I've seen live with getting from point A to B in terms of her speed and her ability and her strength. And she's an unbelievable player. So, no, we knew it was coming, and we just didn't execute.
Are you guys getting to the rim at the level that I know every game's different, but just broadly at the level that you won, or do you think there's another stage to go there?
I thought we could have more tonight, and we did a great job in the paint. I mean, we beat them by 10 in the paint, but I still think we could have got in a lot of our downhill action. I thought we could have got there more and put even more pressure on them. And, we broke some off. We stepped back for threes. We took pull-ups that we weren't making, which I would have liked us to really attack more to try to draw more fouls. And that's something that we just, for whatever reason, we just didn't do. We just weren't as aggressive in stretches. And that's, I think, with everything. It was like in first half, I was really happy. I thought we were really solid. Again, I got to go watch film and break it all down. I'm sure there's a lot of things that we did wrong, but I was really happy with how we played. And then there's just too many of this in the second half where, okay, we're getting stops and we couldn't score. We're, score, then you can't get a stop. And then it was just the Jelani show after that.
When I think about a number of the feedback you've given about your team's performance this year, you've talked about, I haven't seen 40 full minutes yet. And in your experience, this is a rather young team in a lot of regards. What is the intangible piece that takes a team from those spurts of being us to 40 minutes strung together of consistent effort, even when things don't go your way?
I think that's the learning process, right? I think that comes from these experiences, and that comes from leadership, and that comes from, okay, like at some point you just got to draw the line in the sand and say, hey, this isn't, we can't do this, right? And I think that's a collective that's going to be them just doing that. I mean, with the senior group last year, there were so many times that we might have won games, but I probably didn't think we played well or play. It's always that. You're never going to have 40 minutes that's perfect or with elite everything. But when you're playing in this conference and you're playing a team like this, like it's just, they're going to make you pay for some of those mistakes, whatever mistakes they are, whether it's, us offensively or defensively or effort or whatever you want to call it. These elite teams they're going to make you pay.
Coach, Gretchen Dolan's gone through a couple games where shots aren't going down for her. What's your message to her when she's I don't want to say slumping, but the shots just aren't dropping for her?
Yeah, just keep shooting. Keep shooting, and this has been a tough stretch. No, I mean we've never had in our time here. We haven't had a stretch like this where we play 3 teams of this caliber, and literally we haven't had a day off. This schedule is crazy. Going into Maryland, we had a day off after whoever we played before that, Purdue. And then we had 2-day prep Maryland. And then you have 2-day prep at Michigan State. And then 2-day prep Ohio State. And they're 3 of the best teams in the conference at all press and are all physical. I mean, I've never, this conference is absolutely, everyone's good, but that's a really tough stretch. We had 3 games in how many days? So I think some of our legs, I thought we were short on some of our shots tonight, and no excuses, but I thought we were short on some, and maybe that's why we didn't get to the rim. I don't know, but I know one thing, we definitely need a day off tomorrow, and for just their fit. Some of them are dealing with some nagging things and beat up a little bit, so we need a day off. We need to recover, and then we got to get back to work.
Just again going through this stretch like this, just that growth process, and what does that kind of look like in terms of how much you're relying on the players, that leadership aspect of it, and then as well too, you as you try to go through this process of growing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm the leader, so I gotta guide them and I gotta help them, but any great team is also player-led, and they're continuing to learn and grow and as leaders, and they're working really hard at that, and I'm proud of their growth. So, I got to continue to guide them. And this is where, like I don't like, yeah, we're mad we lost and I'm, we want to win every game, but you cannot, I say it all the time, you can't get too high, you can't get too low because you got to stay the course. I mean, we still have a better record right now than we did last year at this time. So it's just, it comes in kind of waves of different things. We got to now focus, learn from this. I got to break it all down. I got to see what I need to do in terms of, X and O's and how can we make some adjustments. And then we get back to work. You got to remain positive. I'm going to tell them the truth because you need truth tellers. Otherwise, you can't sugarcoat it or we're not going to get better. We all got to look in the mirror. I got to get better. Our staff has to get better. They need to get better. And then we come back to work. That's what we always do. I mean, we lost 2 in a row, last year around this time. And, everyone thought the end of the world was coming. And then we go win 8. So this is a young team. We're going to have some bumps in the road. We just need to continue to stay together, stay the course, and we got to remain positive and keep learning. That's the story of this. There's a lot of basketball left to go, and it's just literally one day at a time.
Apologize for belaboring the layups that you gave up off of makes, but you mentioned the Michigan State game too, and I'm wondering if you're thinking about, you've always sent like 4 to the glass, and it almost seemed like the last 2 games people have kind of cheated and tried to get down the floor on you. Is that something you'll look at and go, are we getting too aggressive?
Yeah, we only sent 3 this year.
Yeah.
We only sent 3. We sent 2 back. We made that adjustment going into this year. So obviously 2 back's not working. We might as well just send everyone back. But we got 12-0 boards. Our goal was to get 12-0 boards and hold them to under 10. They only had 6. We out-rebounded them. We won the battle of the paint. Our turnovers were self-inflicted. They weren't even turnovers against the press. We had 2 against the press. They were charges, moving screens. Like, again, just mistakes we can control. You tell me all this stuff. If you showed me this before the game, besides Jelani's 41 in there, if you tell me all that before the game, if you give me this, I'm going to probably tell you we win. And, again, that's what's frustrating. But we did a lot of good things. We just that stupid third quarter. But I got to watch film, and I could give you guys a better recap in a couple days.
I guess that's my follow-up. We haven't seen that third quarter from you guys, I don't think at all this season. For your players to go through that in real time, what do you hope they can take away from experiencing that and how to turn that water off in the middle of a game?
That's where, like I said, I couldn't take any more timeouts. Like, I took the 1, and then I can't burn anymore and I told them that, and then I lost the 1, which I was fine of the 1 review. If I lose once, our first loss of a appeal this year, and I didn't have to take 1 the first half because we were playing well. But yeah, they got to be able to, that's the responses that I always talk about. That's the R's that I always talk about. So when you get punched, a couple plays go wrong, that's where in the heat of the moment in the game, on the floor, we have to be able to respond quickly, quickly. And so those things don't snowball, because it was a tie game, 2-point game. Then we made it 2-point or 4, then we cut it to, and then it kind of went to 8 like that. And that's where, it was that one little run, and again, I got to go back and look at it, but I feel like it was that one run in the third where it was a 1-possession game, and then it kind of got to 8, and then we cut it back, I think, to a 2-possession game, and maybe in the 4th. So again, it's frustrating because we're right there, right? You look at Michigan State, so many opportunities. Now you look at this one, so many opportunities, but we still don't have a bad loss, and you just got to continue to beat teams you're supposed to beat, and then knock off one of these ranked teams and one of these top teams. So we'll get better from it.
Pretty minor detail in terms of the entire game, but second game in a row where Naomi has gotten some spot minutes. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are on her progress now that she's about halfway into her freshman season, and what about her play and performance behind the scenes led to those 2 spots in Big Ten action against ranked teams?
Yeah, she's just been more consistent in practice. That's what it's all about. If you continue to, especially as a freshman, you just got to continue, and then you start to figure it out, as you're going through it. But she's been working really hard in practice. She's been doing the right things on and off the floor, and she just keeps getting better and better. She has so many intangibles. She's an elite athlete. She can move. She's physical, great mobility. She rebounds at a high level. So we just got to continue to bring her along, and that's on us as coaches to continue to help her and guide her. But I trusted her because of practice. She's been practicing well, and I thought she was really good. In the 2 minutes, she went in and held her own when I could get Letty a break there, and when CC was in foul trouble.
Last one, it's not about the game, but how did Asia Wilson end up here tonight?
She disappeared. No, she reached out and wanted to come. There's, I don't know exactly why. I had met her before when I was at Dayton, and she would come to summer practice. She used to date a Dayton men's player, so she was around. I don't know if maybe I heard one of our players had TikToked or whatever you call it at her. I don't know. But she reached out to us and wanted to come, and obviously we're gonna want her here all the time, and it was great. We watched some stuff, and used some of the things she's gone through yesterday when I told the team she was going to be here, watch some motivational things with her, and then it was awesome that she got to talk to our team after, and just had a really great message for them. And it's probably the perfect time for her to be here. I would have loved to win with her here, but sometimes after a tough loss, they're sick of hearing me talk. And it was good that, Asia kind of, reiterated a lot of things that we talk about every day, and about, how to sustain greatness and the work that it goes into it, and some of her leadership advice to this team. And then they got to ask a couple questions. So it was awesome. What an unbelievable player, but she's just a really great person, and that I respect a ton. So it's pretty cool to have her, and Bam came with her. So hopefully everyone, I don't know how many people in the crowd actually noticed she was there, but I guess they announced it. So pretty cool. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.